Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a conversation about the ordinary, the mundane. One thing that we endeavor to do is to make our conversation less than fascinating so that the listener can just feel free to sit back, lie back, and drift off. I want to thank you for joining us. We hope you will listen and sleep. I'm your host, Marco Timpano, and joining me in the studio is Ben. Ben, I never know how to say your last name.
It's Ehrensperger.
Ehrensperger.
Yeah.
Because I look at it and I'm like, I know I'm going to mess this up.
Yeah, most people do. But Ehrensperger,
right.
Swiss German.
Oh, is that the background?
Yeah. So another long name, but I mean, it's always been something that everyone asks me how to spell it. No one or say it. No one really knows right off the bat. But
see, and I meant I was having trouble with your first name.
Oh, Benjamin.
No, I'm just kidding. Let me ask you this, Ben. We share a sort of love for photography.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I studied photography in high school, and I actually won the photography award.
Oh, yeah.
But after that, cameras got so complicated and whatnot that I found myself to be lost with a camera, with a DSLR camera.
With the digital realm.
Yeah. So let me ask you, tell me about the first time you sort of encountered photography and what it was that really attracted you to it.
I'd say the first time I really was drawn to it or sort of attracted by it was when I was younger, and my parents actually had an old Canon film camera.
Oh.
Like just like a nice big black, like 35 millimeter film camera, and you could look through the lens and it would be the exact image of what you saw, and it was just so real, and the sound of the shutter, and then developing those photos into actual film copies, like and having those. My mom actually still has like a trunk in her bedroom.
Oh, so she had all the photos. The pans and the well, what was that thing called that you would shine the light through so it would hit the photographic paper?
I don't know
that thing. I'm sure we'll remember. But yeah, she had all that stuff. So you would develop your own film.
We wouldn't develop our own necessarily. In high school, I did that.
Okay.
I learned how to do that.
But she had a trunk of just like
the actual film and then the actual negatives.
Oh, wow.
From the company that developed them.
Sure.
We still have like all of those 4x6s that go way back.
Right.
So, but and then I really sort of gained an appreciation for it more in high school when I got into photography class, where we actually sort of learned the basics and the different techniques. And one of the cool things we did in the first year I did it was build a pinhole camera.
Yes.
Right out of a cardboard box, and it's just a cardboard box essentially with a little hole.
And I feel like everybody who takes a photography class, because I remember doing the pinhole photography, and it's always described as this monumental sort of thing that we're going to do and blah blah blah. And then when I did it, I was like, wah wah.
Yeah,
I was like, I was like, okay, I get it. That's the way they used to do it back in the day. But
no, it is. It's very very sort of basic and sort of simple method, but it does give you an appreciation for how light works,
right? And
how basically everything you see is light, and how light decides to reflect off different objects and create your perception of color. And obviously when we did that, it was we'd use black and white film, but it was really really interesting. And sort of playing around with different, you really learn the appreciation for exposure times,
right? And
the amount of light they're actually letting in to the camera,
right?
So
f-stop, is that the I always f-stop,
the
all those
aperture,
things, aperture, all those things. I'm like, this bores me.
Yeah.
So the problem is,
problem
is it bores me, and so I don't have a great understanding of it. And so I took a course to learn about the DSLR camera, DSLR camera that we purchased. And once again, when it got to aperture, f-stops, and the other one, I was kind of like, oh, this is really, I'm not into this. But it's so important, and light is so important, like you're saying, like it's so key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what photography is, and it's all about, I mean, light is so important. When I was really into it, I really liked using natural light and light that was found not because of projected in the room. Like, it wasn't something that... It's just, like, I really enjoyed shooting photography. I mean, the golden hour, for instance, which is an hour before the sun sets.
Oh, and it's called the golden hour.
The golden hour.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, if you have a clear night, maybe preferably in the summertime, it's the golden hour. And it's the hour right before the sun sets.
So do you, like, grab your camera and just go during the golden hour?
I have in the past, like, spontaneously, like, if it's really good one night. But that's, like, the use of, like, sunlight, natural light, playing around with that, rather than doing it in post or playing around with actual light fixtures.
Right.
I enjoyed the raw, more sort of natural aspect of that.
And what's your favorite subject? What do you like to photograph? Is it like, are you like anything and everything, or are you like, I like to photograph landscapes or people or portraits or bees flying?
I really enjoyed just walking around street photography. Okay. Sort of run and gun style.
Sure.
Like, not having anything specifically in mind, sort of exploring with my camera. But I also do really enjoy, like, portraiture and being able to take a photo of an individual and, like, to see if it's especially up close, like, you see their face, you see their sort of character,
the beauty, the character, the blemishes,
and light. Right, it's a huge sort of, people are always self-conscious, but if you take a photo properly and you know how to play with light, you can really change the perception
and
100%. The way someone might feel about themselves.
The thing I love about street photography is that when you look at old photos of your city back in the 70s, back in the 80s, back in the 1920s, a lot of it is street photography, or a lot that attracts me is the street photography. So you'll see a street that has changed. Like, for example, in Toronto, Yonge Street is one of the quintessentials or prolific or best known streets in the city.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen these photos of Yonge Street in the 80s when there was, like, before Sam the Record Man was there, or now Sam the Record Man's no longer there, but the street photography captures a moment in time and a moment in your city's life that is so fascinating. And if you go out today and you take photos of the city and things that are happening, it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is what's happening today. But 20 years from now, when people look back at those photos and they remember, oh, there wasn't a condo there. Look, there's a condo there now. Or do you remember when that store was really big and now they've gone out of business?
Yeah. I
find that sort of, there's a journalistic or historic sort of element to street photography that I love.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, that's the coolest thing too, is like, that's exactly what it is. You're capturing that moment in time, and it's going to change, and it's going to sort of evolve into something maybe totally different.
Sure.
But that's what's so cool about photography, is that you're taking a snap of that moment,
right,
and you get to sort of savor that. And that's something I love about film too, is like, actually recently picked up a Polaroid camera.
Oh, cool.
Like an Instax, like Fujifilm, a mini, and you kind of can just crank these photos out that are, you get one copy.
Yeah.
And that's one chance.
And that's it.
And that's such a cool, like, you don't have to edit it on your phone. You don't have, like, you can't send it here, send it there. It's just, that's it. You have that one copy.
You got that, yeah. And if you want to share that, you've got to make copies of it.
Yeah,
right?
You can do that if you want to. But
Andy Warhol and his Polaroid photographs, it's just so fascinating to see. And the interesting thing I've always found with these sort of instant photograph is that the colors don't seem like true colors.
Yeah.
And so they give it an ethereal sort of quality, or this, like, really...
it's like dreamy, like, almost, like,
or just there's a coolness to it, and like actually seeing yourself through the eyes of a person who's photographed you in a Polaroid situation, or like an Instamatic situation, is pretty neat. Kind of like, when you go in those booths and you pay whatever $2 to $5 and then it takes four
and you spits it out at the side. Well, that's like a perfect example of a moment, and like capture of that moment.
My recent moment with photography was this, Ben. So I had to get my passport renewed. Yeah. And of course, I got all the paperwork together, everything's ready to go, but I don't have the passport photo. And so I remembered I was getting my Italian passport, because I'm a dual citizen, so I have both a Canadian and an Italian passport. So I go to the consulate, and I remember the last time I had my passport renewed there was all these passport picture places, right?
Yeah.
But I went really early in the morning to take my passport photo because I wanted to go to the consulate when it opened so I could get in and out as quickly as possible. And I was going around looking for someone to take my passport photo, and I couldn't find anyone. And there was a place that said passport photos, and it was one of the sketchiest places I've ever been to in my life. I went up this stair, and there was like, go up another flight, and there's massage parlors.
Like where you get a fake ID when you're in high school.
Yeah, it was one of those places. And there was this kind of shady-looking dude standing in front of the place that was supposed to take photos for passports, but it was closed. And I asked the shady dude, I said, excuse me, do you know what time this opens? And he goes, an hour ago. I'm like, oh, it's not open? He goes, I don't know. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to leave this place. So then I asked someone, where can I get a passport photo taken? And they're like, oh, the convenience store does it. So I got my passport photo taken in some little convenience store.
I love it.
And there you go. And that's what it is.
I think initially you seriously were trying to get a fake ID there. That's what that sounds like.
It would seem. Right. Now, don't get me wrong. In the past, I've gotten
there
fake
must have
IDs.
been a password that you just didn't know, and he was the bouncer.
But he probably saw me and he's like, this guy's not sketch enough to get into our premises, so he's not getting in. Let me ask you this. Who or what do you, like, who's your favorite photographer, or what is it that you love in photographs that you try to emulate in your photographic works?
There's nothing specifically that comes to mind in terms of photographers or people that I might try and emulate. Like, I think it's really cool to develop your own style.
Oh, awesome.
And like figure out sort of what that is. And there was obviously different inspirations growing up, and different people that there was one commercial photographer that I really enjoyed sort of following what he was doing.
Okay.
His name's Chase Jarvis, and he did a lot of commercial photography where it was like big production, sort of traveled a lot and did these really cool different like film production, and they did all sorts of coverage with photography, lots of commercial work for different sort of sports brands, and that was really interesting at first, but that's sort of like the bigger production side of the industry, I feel like, and more like there's a lot more money involved, there's a lot more production involved in general, right? And it's not as like, I mean, to me, it was always more of a hobby and something I enjoyed just sort of to do on my own and not necessarily try and create a career on it. But
although I've seen some of your food photography, and it's pretty awesome. And that blends sort of your career as a chef with a hobby, which is photography. Yeah,
and that's something I've tried to do sort of through my career in food, is like, I don't ever want to lose that photography, and I always it's always something I want to continue to do and continue to sort of like develop my own style, right? Like, and that will never change. And now with food sort of being something that's a primary aspect of my life, and like you can tie those two together, so it's really cool and fun.
So let me ask you this. What would you recommend for a novice who's using their, like, because you see this all the time in restaurants where people get their dishes brought to them and they want to capture this moment, and they take a photo of their dishes and they post it on Instagram. Yeah. And I have friends, and I'm not going to single them out, who will do this, and the food looks terrible. And you know who's notorious for this is Martha Stewart. She'll take photos of food and it looks horrible.
Just like bright flash.
Yeah, or like the food just doesn't look complemented by the way, the angle or whatnot. Are there any tips you would give people who are going to take photos of the food they're about to eat?
Well, honestly, I avoid doing that at restaurants. I don't like pulling out my camera all the time. Like, in given situations, maybe it will be something cool to really capture if it's something really interesting. Right. But something that I've learned in food photography specifically is using natural light. And using, I mean, obviously you're not going to find that in a dark restaurant at night. Sure. But you might be able to find that during the daytime or somewhere where you can have access to natural daylight. It's like the best, I feel. Not using a flash, not using any sort of incandescent bulbs. Like you're using natural light is the best, I feel. Is going
to complement the food the best.
Absolutely.
Or you have to set up giant lights, which is hard to do in a restaurant when you're eating.
You can't do that all the time, right?
We all prefer things a certain way, like groceries. If you want groceries just how you like them, you gotta try Instacart. They have a new preference picker that lets you pick how ripe or unripe you want your bananas. Shoppers can see your preferences upfront, helping guide their choices. Because when it comes to groceries, the details matter. Instacart. Get groceries just how you like.
We live in a culture obsessed with dieting, weight loss, and exercise. And that can make eating disorder behaviors easy to miss. But the reality is, eating disorders are serious mental illnesses that take a major toll on your health and your life. But recovery is possible. Eating disorders are more common than you might think. Chances are you know someone who is struggling with one. Or maybe you're struggling yourself. If you're concerned about an eating disorder in yourself or a loved one, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors. And you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
With almost 500,000 customers and over $1 trillion of secure payments, Bill isn't new to intelligent finance. It's the proven way to simplify bill pay and maximize cash flow. Want to learn more? Visit Bill.com/proven for a special offer.
Speaking of your work as a chef, I want to talk to you about knives.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? Because I know a chef's knife is a chef's greatest weapon in the kitchen,
yeah,
or their greatest ally in the kitchen. Is that safe to say?
Sure. I mean, like, a lot of people say that, and it is something you use every day, and it's something that you get really used to.
Sure.
But by no means do I feel like you have to have the best knife to create the best food, or
sure,
or you have to have the most expensive, sharpest knife to do
some
anything.
Weird
it's
steel.
not going to help you
right.
really at the end of the day.
Right.
So
you need to know.
It's more of a tool, right?
Okay.
But I love like tools and
right.
sort of like different things that help you in your craft. And
sure.
Like, a knife is something that I think is really, really interesting and really sort of like universal, and you can use it in so many different ways. But to cook with it is like you have to use it, right? Like,
right. Now, can you tell the difference when you're using your knife in the kitchen versus a chef colleague's knife, like when you pick up their knife?
Well, they say that's actually, you get really used to your knife,
right,
and how it feels. And sometimes I've grabbed colleagues' knives and they feel completely different, and you're almost, it's kind of like interesting. It's almost like you're learning again how to use it. It's kind of it's just a different feel, right?
Sure.
Every knife has a different feel.
Right.
So
what do you look for in a knife?
I don't. I like a good weight
on
my knife, like, and something that's not crazy big.
Okay.
Like, I actually prefer a smaller chef's knife style because it's just more. It's more sort of, you have more versatility with it, and it's just a little bit more manageable, especially in a small kitchen. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you got to take care of your knives. That's one of the things, because we bought some good knives. You know, we went to the store and we had this whole, like, you bought these knives and then you got a free cooking class and you got to learn how to take care of these. I don't even know, Ben. I just kind of went with my wife and we're like, all right, we're going to do this knife thing, right? But what I found interesting was the gentleman who was sort of talking about the knives said two things that really are not good for knives are putting them in a dishwasher or leaving them in water.
Yeah.
And cutting on glass.
Yeah. I mean, I who wants to cut on glass?
I don't know.
That's just like nails on a chalkboard.
Well, some people have like these cutting boards that are made of glass.
I've seen those. I mean, I'm sure I've had one in my growing up at some point.
Sure.
My parents definitely had one of those, but I don't know. It's just that's something. I think the most common mistake is the dishwasher.
Yeah.
And yeah, you do have to maintain. Like, if you take care of a knife, it will last you forever.
Right.
So, just like a lot of different tools and different crafts. So.
And how important is it to sharpen your blade?
It's very important, and it's just a matter of sort of maintaining it too. Like,
because I've seen you sharpen your blade, and it's a thing to watch because it's serious business when you're doing it, and you're very there's a sort of elegance to it too. There's a sort of way that you're moving your hands and the what's it called, the the stone steel. Or the honing steel.
So that's a honing steel.
Yeah.
And there's that's actually technically not, you're not sharpening the blade. You're realigning the steel. So when you use a knife, the edge sort of curls and folds over.
Okay.
And basically what a honing steel will do is it kind of brings that edge back to center.
Okay.
But what happens? You're not actually shaving metal off.
I see.
So when you take your knife onto a stone, like a wet stone,
I've seen you do that
or
too,
a belt grinder,
yeah,
which you would ideally you're using a stone,
right?
That's when you're actually going to take metal off of the blade and you're sharpening it. So
I see.
A lot of people mistake honing for sharpening, but technically it's really not. It's actually you're sort of maintaining its edge.
I see.
Yeah, throughout the day. And you can do that a couple times a day or as much as you need it, as much as you use your knife. But yeah, so that's sort of a common...
So how often do you use the stone on your knives?
I don't find that... It depends on the style of knife you have as well, and the steel that it's made from, and sort of whether it's a soft steel or a hard steel.
Sure.
Or a steel that maintain... Like if it's a harder steel, it might maintain an edge longer. Mm-hmm. And if it's a softer steel... it might get dull faster, but you can bring the edge back easier.
Oh.
So it sort of is all varying on what kind of steel the knife is using, and also sort of the style. Like Japanese knives are thinner styled knives, opposed to a French or sort of European style knife, which is like a thicker Henkel.
Right.
You know, like the Henkel's 3-dot black handle, like hefty knife.
Sure.
And the Japanese are a lot more delicate and thinner and more like fragile. Actually, the blades are very fragile.
So which do you prefer?
I love like a European or German style handle,
right?
But a Japanese blade.
Oh, you're like the best of both worlds. Yeah. And do they do that?
Yeah, there's different brands that make different styles of knives, but yeah, that would be my sort of ideal. And
so here's another question: is there a knife that you currently don't have? A particular knife that you would like to have? For example, I don't have a fish knife to debone fish.
Yeah.
I have no reason, because I don't ever do it, but I want that knife. Because I watched a program where they were like, this is the perfect knife to debone any, and they were just like filleting fish and like just cutting out the bones, and it was like an interesting looking knife and all that. Now I want that knife. I don't need it, but I want that knife. Do you have a knife that or do you have all the knives you need?
I don't have I try not to have a lot of I don't have a lot of knives. I don't have this massive collection. I have sort of what I need and what I use. But if there was one that I could that I would add or something that I would need or want.
So if someone's listening, they're like, I don't know what to get Ben for his birthday. this is what you're saying. So careful what you say, Ben, because you might get it.
Honestly, you know what? I really am intrigued by. Specifically in Asia, they use cleavers, a lot for everything. Just a cleaver.
Sure.
They can use that for everything that they're cutting in food preparation. I don't have one.
Is the one that Chris uses? Is that a cleaver?
That's called a nikiri.
Okay.
And it's sort of a smaller style, squared off vegetable knife.
Okay.
Or similar style, but a cleaver, like a meat cleaver.
You want a cleaver?
Meat cleaver.
The one with the hole at the
like a good I don't need that. I'm probably not going to use that very often, but that's something I want.
One of my favorite knives that I have in my collection is a cheese knife. Yeah. I love cheese, and I like to use. And there's something about my mother's family. So my mom's family always grew up. You know how you have one item in your house that no matter what, when you have nothing, you have this one item. Could be bread, it could be whatever, like sweets or whatnot.
Cheese.
It was always cheese for my mom, right? Because she grew up on a farm and they made their own cheese and whatnot. So growing up, we always had cheese. And my mom was very particular on how you sliced or carved cheese and what knives to use. And so that translated to me. So my wife, when she approaches cheese, she's a maniac. She's just like a serial killer. She hacks away. The cheese ends up looking like sorrowful. And it always aggravates me. And we have a cheese knife, and I love using that cheese knife on soft cheese, hard cheeses, and whatnot. And I believe that there's a certain proper way to cut different types of cheeses, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I love my cheese knife. I love the different spatulas and whatnot that you get for harder cheeses and whatnot. And to me, that's one of my favorite knives. Do you have a favorite knife? I know you talked about your chef's knife, but is there a knife in your kitchen where you're like, I'm glad I had this?
It's funny you say that, because my chef's knife, I recently got a new one a few months ago, and damaged the tip a few weeks after I got it. And so I've been using this. It's called a petty knife, or a utility sort of style knife. And it's a very small, sort of very thin blade, but it's decently long, maybe 7 inches long, but it's very thin and small in comparison to a chef's knife. So it's a very, very small sort of tactile knife, and I've been using that at the restaurant every day for the past few months.
Okay, and
just that knife, and I love it.
It's tremendous.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But what it begs the question: what happened to that chef's knife that you
I have to get it fit. I took it home, and then now it's just
it's a sorrowful.
I just sort of look at it. I'm gonna take care of you one day. I just have to find the time.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, because I know that these knives are expensive too, right?
Yeah.
That's why whenever I see someone use a knife incorrectly, have you ever seen somebody take a chef's knife and do
just stupid
stuff. Silly things, and you're like, you're gonna break the tip, you're gonna
or yourself, you're gonna break yourself.
Yeah, fair enough. You don't want to be doing that. I will say this though, Ben, there's a saying that I think in your case would probably be the opposite, and that's never bring a knife to a gunfight. I have a feeling if you went to a gunfight with a knife, you would do some serious damage.
I think so. I think I'd stand a chance at least.
just by throwing those knives.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'd just throw it right away.
Yeah.
And then,
fair enough.
That's it.
Fair enough.
That's all you got.
Listen, be careful with those knives. They say that the most dangerous thing in a kitchen is a dull knife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say so?
Yeah, because it's just they say the likelihood of it slipping off of a different food product is more likely.
Sure.
Because if you have a sharp knife, it's going to go straight into that material, opposed to putting more pressure to try and get it to go in, and then having it slip off and potentially cutting yourself. So knife safety, knife rules.
You want to
101. That's the basics right there.
There you go. Ben, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this episode.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Marco.
I hope you had fun. I certainly learned not only about knives, but about photography as well.
Yeah, well,
and those are two topics that don't get talked about together often enough.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. As always, I want to say thank you to my guest, Ben, and this episode was recorded by Drumcast Productions, and we were recording in Toronto, Canada. Once again, we invite you to rate us on iTunes and send us a message at Listen and Sleep. We hope you enjoyed this episode.